Advocating for an FASD-Informed IEP, a series of compact trainings for parents. This training was originally presented to a live audience in the fall of 2024 and have been divided into smaller sections here in order for participants to access the sections they choose in the order they prefer. Additional considerations when advocating for an FASD-Informed IEP, Part 7 in this series. Please note that this compact training is designed to come after parts 1 through 6 in the Advocating for an FASD-Informed IEP series and includes tips for IEP creation. While it can be watched at any point in the series, it should be considered an add-on to the other sections. So, additional considerations: collaboration with parents, educators, school-based and community-based service providers, FASD experts, and anyone else who has knowledge of your child and how their disability may impact their educational functioning can be invited to participate in IEP development. I want to look at the importance of looking at all aspects of how the disability manifests in this individual student, and then utilize IEP discussions as an additional opportunity to discuss the brain-based needs and the types of interventions that are most successful and beneficial for your child. It sometimes occurs that during the IEP meetings, additional information will come out, and so you've gathered new information that then helps the IEP team make more informed decisions as well. And then we want to be sure this information is documented in the IEP or included in a parent attachment that you include with your signed copy of the IEP. And you can also request that your parent attachment or that information that you have added be included in your child's educational file. Independent education evaluations, or IEEs, are part of your parent rights. And so if you disagree with the school's assessment, or the assessment's inaccurate or wasn't conducted properly, you have the right to request an independent evaluation at district expense. If you have set up the basis for your child's brain-based neurodevelopmental disability throughout the assessment, the documents, the reports, and the IEP discussions, then you may actually have a case to get a neuropsychological assessment as part of the IEE process. So that can sometimes benefit that potential request. It's not a guarantee, but it can definitely help support that request. It's often helpful to have an advocate or an attorney review your case before requesting IEEs to ensure that you have a solid basis for your request and to support you in accessing appropriate and highly qualified independent assessors. While parents have a lot of rights within the IEP process, there can also be a lot of barriers to accessing those rights as well. So having support matters. And depending on the merits of the assessments in your case, you may at times request multiple IEEs to ensure that each area of need has been appropriately addressed. For example, if there are indications that your child may have an auditory processing deficit, but the psychoeducational assessment from the school dismissed the significance of the intra-test scatter, then you may want to seek an IEE from an audiologist rather than a new psychoed assessment. So there are ways to kind of fine tune the type of psychoed, or the type of IEE that you might need for your student. A well-documented IEP sets the foundation for answering questions regarding whether a behavior is a manifestation of the disability. So this comes into play if your child is ever involved in an incident or incidents that trigger a cumulative total of 10 or more days of suspension in one school year, or if they're recommended for expulsion. If the child has an IEP, or if there are documented areas of suspected disability that are in writing, and writing makes a world of difference, the school must conduct a manifestation determination hearing. And during that process, the team will evaluate whether the behavior in question was related to the student's disability. So if you already have solid documentation of the ways that your individual student's brain functions and the types of struggles their brain experiences, then it can help significantly with this process because all that information is already documented in their file. And so if something like this occurs, you can go back and demonstrate, hey, look, this really is part of their underlying brain-based disability. It's this issue is connected to this, and make a case for that. This also sets a stage for concerning behavioral symptoms to be effectively mitigated while providing protections for the student. So you're really setting that up. The other thing that's really pertinent in IEPs and creating effective IEPs for this population is out-of-the-box thinking. It's crucial. And the more you can get the team on board with you with regard to creative problem solving to situations that arrive, the more effective the collaborations are likely to be. It's not always easy. There are, people get stuck into the systems that they're used to, and sometimes it's harder to get out of that mindset and into the creativity, but I urge you to encourage the team to do so as much as possible. And then don't be afraid to seek outside help and get consultation from an attorney or an advocate if your child's needs are not being appropriately met at school. Advocates are helpful to assist with accessing services and navigating the special education system, including helping you with specific language that may be more persuasive than what you would have otherwise used. And a good advocate will assess your case to see if it's in need of an attorney and will refer you to an attorney whenever it may be warranted. Attorneys come into play when the school or district has not done what they agreed to or has not provided the needed services for your child. And they're able to use legal avenues such as due process and other means to effect changes to your child's programming with the goal of improving the situation and ensuring your child is able to receive the free, appropriate public education that they are due. When seeking support from advocates and attorneys, I encourage you to ask about their knowledge of FASD. Assess their willingness to learn about this disability if they're not very familiar with it, and their openness to including you and your feedback as they develop their strategies or their due process complaints and remedies. Sometimes if you can't find somebody who is already trained in FASD, you might find somebody who's really open to learning from you and collaborating throughout the process. And there are little by little more people, more advocates learning about FASD and becoming more FASD informed. So we're working on that, but right now there's not a lot out there. So you'll want to be able to collaborate with others as much as possible as well. And finally, I encourage you to seek support from individuals who are highly and accurately informed about FASD and the unique needs related to this disability. Now, this may come in the form of a good friend who comes with you to the IEP meetings as both moral support and an assistant with regard to explaining FASD to the school professionals. It may be that you reach out to specialists who you can consult with specifically about your child's behavioral needs or their IEP needs, or how you can best be supported at home to stay regulated in order to best help your child. It may mean asking for consultation to the school professionals on your child's IEP team in order to provide them with ongoing and student-specific feedback and recommendations for enhancing their services and supports. It may also be increasing your knowledge of FASD and the nuances of this disability through ongoing training or coaching so that you can embrace the paradigm shift needed to guide the school as they work to shift the way they perceive your child also. And there are many different ways to ensure your child's team has the information needed to create a supportive educational program that truly meets the underlying brain-based needs. And I encourage you to find the combination that works best for you and your family and your IEP team. If you're interested in continuing education on FASD and the IEP, we have a group that meets monthly that may be of interest. We combine direct instruction, discourse, case studies, and education, and then we encourage group participation and respectful dialogue throughout the sessions. It's open to anyone who attends IEPs for students with FASD and who has some baseline knowledge about both IEPs and FASD. If you have any questions about qualifications, please do not hesitate to reach out to us via the contact page on our website at healthymindsconsulting.com or register directly at healthyminds-consulting.com/FASD-IEP-mentorship-coalition. Thank you for attending this training. If you have any additional questions, need more information, or just want to keep up with Healthy Minds, please feel free to reach out to us. This slide has information about our website, our social media contacts, and a direct email to our founder and director, Kelly Rain Collin.